It was sad to see David Haye go down for a second time against Tony Bellew, somebody he would have knocked out in his prime. You see a fighter there in the ring, they exist now only in name, and you kind of witness like a mini death of them without them actually dying. It's always sad. I remember Mike Tyson losing against the likes of Danny Williams, and you're like, oh god, it's horrible for somebody who was like almost like godlike. Not quite the same with David Haye. He was an excellent fighter, but still sad. He looked vulnerable. It was the fact, really, the fight shouldn't have even been sanctioned. You were looking at an injured, shot to pieces fighter there. Haye wasn't going to say, no, I put my hand up, I was injured, I was carrying the same injury as the first fight, but he clearly was. It was there to see. His balance was fucked, and he just looked vulnerable and a man conscious that his body was fucked, and that's why he panicked in that third round and was a sitting duck. So I can't really give Bellew credit, even though he wants credit and he's got a big ego that wants this credit. He's like, well, hang on, I was the underdog twice, I've won again. And I think that's why he then makes quite big claims afterwards. He's like, let's have Usyk, let's have Gassiev, let's have Ward, and he even said something like, I'd outbox Andre Ward. He starts saying all this kind of shit. If he were to fight Usyk or Gassiev, fair play if he was to fight the guy who would go on to win the Cruiserweight Series tournament, because those are both live bodies, young guys, and if he were to beat them, he really would be the best cruiserweight in the world. Not like, again, he'd previously said, but he wasn't. Andre Ward, though, he's mentioned him. If he's willing to fight them, fair play, bring that on. Would Eddie Hearn be willing to make that fight? I'm not so sure about that. Andre Ward is more of the Floyd Mayweather ilk. He keeps himself in very good shape outside of the ropes. He's got great fundamentals, unlike David Haye. So even if physically now he's not quite at his best, and that's quite at his best, he'll still be near it. It wouldn't really matter because he's got so much know-how and intuition to fall back on. And Tony Bellew would know that because he's a really good student of the game who is very good when it comes to stylistically breaking down fighters. He reckons he'd manhandle Andre Ward. He said he reckons he might outbox him. I don't know about that. And I think Eddie Hearn would probably think, do I really think Tony Bellew could beat Andre Ward? Probably not. I don't know if I want to make that fight. But if they do, kudos. I hope they could make that fight. That would be great. Of course, the British public, they don't know who Usyk is or Gassiev. They might remember that Andre Ward is the guy who once beat Carl Froch, and they could advertise him as the best pound-for-pound guy in the world. So you got those two good angles. So I would like to see that fight. Who do you reckon would win there? Do you think Eddie Hearn would willingly make that fight, put it forward and let it go ahead? Or what do you just think? Nah, there's no point doing that. It'd stink the place out. It would be kind of funny to see Andre Ward completely outbox Bellew, see Carl Froch get even saltier about it at ringside, because of course he wanted Kovalev to beat Ward as well, and that didn't happen. So he's having a bad time at the moment, Carl Froch, in terms of legacy. But what do you reckon? Will Eddie Hearn let that fight go ahead? If it does, who wins? Does Tony Bellew outbox Andre Ward out of nowhere and really make us shut up? Or is it 12-zip to Son of God?